Hey everybody, it's Tyler. I know you haven't met me yet, but I just wanted to put a disclaimer here that what we're calling episode 0 of the podcast, has, what's a good way to put it? Substandard audio for what I would want to include in an episode of this show. But it's the first one. We were working out some kinks, and hopefully moving forward, we have a better system figured out. So take that with a grain of salt. Enjoy us talking. And thank you so much for checking this podcast out. We love you already, and I don't even know you, but I hope to soon. Anyway, here's what it is.
So, for whatever reason, I keep looking back at our messages to try to remind me what the podcast is called, because I keep doing some other park pun.
Yeah.
And
what other ones are you remembering?
I don't know. It's Write It Out.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is great.
Tentatively.
No, I love Write It Out. I just keep wanting to do, like...
Ride or Die.
Just ride with it.
Ooh.
No.
Ride with me is also fun.
Ride with me, I keep saying for some reason. No, I like...
Because of Nelly.
I don't know that's where my brain was going. I like Write It Out. I liked the other thing you just said, though.
Ride with me?
Right? No.
Ride or Die.
Ride or Die! Hey, welcome to Write It Out. I'm Jess.
I'm Jess.
Fuck.
I kind of like that. Other options.
That one's Tyler. This one's Jess. No, that one's already taken. All the other cool Jesses are already out there.
Everybody has already done all the funny, cool things.
Who's that girl? It's just... Dang it, no!
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Jess.
And we're married.
Correct.
And we are also enormous theme park enthusiasts. And really, I am an enormous theme park enthusiast who has converted my wife into...
Yes, upon our marriage, I converted to the religion of theme parkology. No?
Ism.
Yeah.
Parkism.
We can make it a science. That's fine.
That does sound like a disease, unfortunately.
Now, it's kind of fun that we did the twist of being converted, because actually our next upcoming trip to a theme park will take place over Easter weekend, and I have been telling everyone that that's our place of worship.
And it really does feel like that to me now, at this point in my life.
You have such a reverence for theme parks, so I feel like that's a good way to describe it.
Theme parks and the main focus, I think, of this show is largely going to be Universal Studios Orlando. That's the one that is closest to us, like the closest big major park, right? Wait, yeah, Orlando's closer than Tampa, right?
I mean, they're
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Right. Okay. Yes. So it's probably the closest big one. There's a Six Flags in Georgia, right? Is that closer to us?
Atlanta.
Okay,
so
no,
closer,
Orlando's closer.
We're in Tallahassee, for context.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, so basically it's...
Oh, and we're pass holders for Universal this
is
year.
A very new thing for us, though.
So that's mostly why we'll be doing that a lot more. Mm-hmm. And also for context, we have a child. So
yes.
If that tells you anything, we don't have infinite amount of money to go to a wide variety of theme parks.
Or time, or travel stamina.
We will be talking about the 1, maybe 2 that we will go. Although, I will say, our child is less than 2 years old, and she has been to 3 theme parks?
Maybe even more than that. She's been to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
If you want to count Islands of Adventure, that's a separate park.
It's one.
Okay. All right.
It's one package deal.
Universal Orlando Resort. That's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
She's been to both of those in Orlando. She has been to Busch Gardens.
Yep.
With us. She's been to our other kind of what I would almost consider a home park for me, which is Wild Adventures.
Yes.
Up in Valdosta, Georgia. And is there anything? Am I forgetting anything?
That's all that I remember. She has not been to Disney. We were talking about doing that for her second birthday, but we're going to push that back a year because Disney is prohibitively expensive.
And prohibitively complicated.
And yes. And we're Floridians, so we get like discounts and stuff, you know, and it's still like more complicated than it needs to be.
And that's not like to knock Disney. I mean,
no,
obviously,
I've been to Disney. It's great.
But kind of the strange thing is I've probably been to Universal Studios. We're going to just say Universal Studios. We mean Orlando. I would love to go to Universal Hollywood one day, but for a lot of reasons that we're definitely going to get into at some point, it is the lesser Universal Studios to me, even than some of the international ones. And I've never been to any of those either.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would be really super cool. But yeah, I mean, it's the original, but LA being so restricted in terms of their physical space, they just can't do as much as Universal Orlando. And like, I also think we're probably biased because Universal Orlando, we've been to several times. You and I had both been several times before we got married, but I think since we moved back to Florida in 2021, I mean, we've been several times to Universal Orlando, and like we haven't even been to that many other like theme parks like in general. Like I said, we went to I know you mentioned
Busch Gardens.
Yeah, Busch Gardens. Yeah. Why in my head? I was thinking something else. No, we just went to Busch Gardens and Wild Adventures. I think that's the only theme parks we've been to.
I've been to some others, but it was like a long time ago.
No. I meant like.
Oh, you mean like together
in recent years?
In recent years.
But like last year, you went to Universal 3 or 4 times, maybe.
It might have even been 5.
Yeah,
it's quite a lot.
Yeah, and we've been maybe at least once a year since 2021. So besides Wild Adventures, because it's a smaller park,
a smaller
so
family park.
It's easier to memorize. But Universal Orlando, we've been to the most, so I feel like now we're super familiar. Like we just went with one of my brothers. In January, and like we were so like
much fun.
It was a great time, but like I felt like we were pros because we were like, oh, okay, so this ride is here and we got to go here, and this is it. We can do this route or we can do this route. Like we've got the whole area like mapped out and feel really confident, because I think that can be one of the things that's like intimidating about a theme park, is that a little bit like a cruise ship, like you know that there's fun stuff out there, but you don't know how to get there, and you waste a lot of time waiting in lines. And so I think we can be really like efficient and think about like, you know, okay, we only have a little bit of time left. How do we get the most out of it?
Yeah. And even familiar enough to the point of now we will, depending on the time of day, we can look at wait times for a thing and look at the general crowd levels and at a glance just be like, well, that's not worth it. Don't even bother with that one. And then also, this one is a must-do, so no matter what the wait time is, you know, go ahead and get on it. Make your plans.
Although we have different, I think, opinions about wait times, because I think you get a little, because we've been so much, I think we get spoiled and are like, well, I'm not going to wait in line. And I think another thing is also that restricts us from waiting in line. Usually when it's just the two of us going and our daughter, one of us will walk around with her and the other one will do single rider, which, by the way, split the party, do it like when you guys are on the ride with the people you're going to a theme park with, you're not talking while you're on a ride. You can all talk about the shared experience after you get off. Split the party, do single rider so that you don't spend your whole day in line, because now you and I, like, you know, we'll look at like, oh, Mummy, 25 minutes. That's a walk on for single rider.
Yes.
Get in that line right now. Yeah. And so because we've had so many experiences like that like for example, when we went with Mike in January, he really wanted to get on the Gringotts ride.
Yeah.
I feel like I should call everything by its real name instead of like...
Hey, can I tell you, nobody...
Because I'm like, what is it? Escape to Gringotts?
Escape from Gringotts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. They're trapped in it. They're trying to get out. I understand the premise of
But also, this is another real thing. Sorry for the tangent. Some of the rides at Universal Studios are named so insanely. The full name of the Hagrid ride is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
That's so bananas. Who would ever call it?
That is like 27 syllables.
Let's get in line for Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. I don't think a single person has ever said its full name, ever.
No.
It's like, Hagrid!
It's like how people just say, get on Hogwarts. They don't say the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey.
I don't think anyone calls it Forbidden Journey either. They're like, get in the castle, whatever. Yeah.
So anyway, what were we saying right before that?
I don't know. See, that's the thing about having this be a conversational, uncharted format is that we go on a little tangent. So we were with Mike at Gringotts.
Yes.
This is... Fortunately,
you did it.
My day job is a therapist, and so I literally get paid to get people to circle back in on tangents.
Thank you for your service.
So, Forbidden Journey, no, Gringotts. Gringotts. Mike really wanted to do it because he had never done it before. Big Harry Potter fan. And we were walking around Diagon Alley and we see that it's 55 minutes. And I was like, oh yeah, we should go do it. And you were like, no, that's too long. Not worth it, blah, blah, blah. And like maybe for you and I, we probably wouldn't wait in Gringotts because we've done it before. I love the experience of being in Gringotts, but the actual ride, like the screens, I get a little sick. So,
it's not perfect.
Yes, I don't know that I would necessarily like, every time it's worth waiting a 55-minute wait. But if that's your one big thing, like he of course wanted to spend as much time in, and again, I'm going to call it Harry Potter World. I don't care what it's called. I'm going to call it Harry Potter World.
The Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Yeah, no. So we left, we did other things, and then we circled back, and it's up to 85 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember what it was when we actually went in, but I think it finally went down to maybe 65 or something. We're like, okay, we just got to do this thing.
Yeah.
So I think at a certain point, you have to, theme parks involve waiting.
They do. There's no way around it, even with express passes on a busy day.
And express passes are pretty pricey.
Yeah, and the more people that are there, obviously, the more the demand is, the more expensive that they are. You can pay multiple hundreds of dollars for a single, not unlimited express pass.
Yeah. And I have had express before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it's nice, but certainly not worth it. And I think if you're going to the parks for multiple days, you definitely don't need it.
Yeah.
I think we should have I realize as we're talking, there's a lot of little tidbits we've got, so that'd be fun to organize that in some fashion at some point.
Yeah, I can go back through and collect those.
Well, I just mean for maybe future episodes. So we don't really have a plan for what this is going to look like in the future, but we're just here to talk about theme parks because we want to, and it's fun.
Yeah, and if you're here and you are listening to this, then you're probably down for a hang.
Yeah.
And we're just here to hang.
Yeah, and you're probably a theme park enthusiast.
Yeah,
or my mom.
Hi, Mom. Yeah, but Jess and I approach theme parks, even though we both love going to Universal together, we approach it in slightly different ways. Or at least we come to it in different ways. Jess loves learning about the parks when I tell her things about the parks, but the opposite end of that is I listen to I listen to every theme park podcast basically, but one in particular is For Your Amusement, And it's great.
Don't tell the people to listen to all these other podcasts besides us. They're like, great, turn it off.
They've heard of that one before they've heard of this one for sure.
Well, obviously.
Anyway,
except for my mom.
They like to call themselves theme park sickos. Because, and I fully identify with that. I immerse myself in the world of theme park knowledge. I love learning about all the little secret details of things.
That's just your approach to everything.
I am an enthusiast.
You are likely neurodivergent, which is also a fun focus. Yes, you're an enthusiast, and like when you get excited about something, you're all in, and so
it's just more fun to be that way.
Yes, it's a great way to live life. I enjoy riding the roller coaster of your enthusiasm.
Aw, cute. That was a really cute turn of phrase.
Thank you. No, I think, so everybody goes through phases of interests in their life. Like, I was a horse girl. Everyone has a horse girl phase, I feel like. I mean, the lucky ones, I suppose. But for kids, there's a time in your life where you're really into theme parks, and I feel like a lot of our close friends have phased out of that enthusiasm, so you don't have as many people to ride that high with you about it.
Yeah. So I had to force you to.
Yeah, but I'm fully converted now. Yeah. I love it. No, you help me enjoy and appreciate better because you notice all the little Easter eggs and the details and the theming beyond I think a lot of people who look at theme parks are just oh, I want to get on the biggest roller coaster ever, and it's a roller coaster, and whereas you're
biggest, fastest, whatever.
Yeah, whereas you're oh, do you notice how as you walk past this place, they waft this scent out, and you notice those little details, which I think make it fun. The superhero island in Universal, how you're oh, that's this guy's signature on all the comics,
Yeah, and just the hidden lore that surrounds you, that in the mundane stuff.
Yeah.
That is what ultimately, I think that is what makes theme parks, and really more specifically Universal Orlando, one of my favorite places to be in the world. Not just one of my favorite places to vacation, not one of my favorite places to go on rides or whatever, but just to exist there, because if you have your eyes open for that stuff, it rewards you for paying attention in that way, Yeah,
which is why your favorite area of Universal Orlando is Port of Entry.
Port of Entry at Islands of Adventure is the best so far.
Oh, we haven't talked about Epic
is
yet.
Opening soon. We'll get into Epic maybe here in a minute. Port of Entry at Islands of Adventure is probably the best entrance to a theme park that exists. Certainly that I've been to. And certainly that I have been to 100,000 times. And I still, every time I walk in, Jess can tell you, my eyes are straight. Most people are beelining for the end to veer off into Seuss Land or Marvel, but my head is up and I'm just looking around up at the heights of the buildings and the fountains and hearing all the incredible the score in these theme parks, the soundtrack that put. I guess it's a soundtrack, no. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. The ambient music and the sounds that they play are so good. They could get away with playing pop songs, I think.
Wouldn't that suck, though?
It would suck so bad, especially compared to knowing how good the music is.
No, they wouldn't want the licensing for pop songs, so they would be Kids Bop or something.
Oh my gosh, or the Simlish versions.
That would be so funny, though.
Funny. That sounds like something they would do in in like a Planet Coaster game or something, maybe.
Or like if Meow Wolf did a theme park.
Oh, don't get me started on Meow Wolf. That's another thing that we will definitely get into at a later time is like we just love going to themed experiences in general.
We love travel and just exploring.
We just like doing stuff.
we do things.
I don't know. I guess that's kind of an overview. Are we missing anything else about like why we're doing this? I like sharing. I like sharing this with the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I think we have a lot of conversations, just us, and we have a lot of fun with it. But I feel like you are wanting to share like your experiences, your insights, and like I think you like the idea of having like a dedicated time to talk about this.
I do.
And like we've talked about doing like lots of different podcasts, so I think there is just something about like having a dedicated time to talk about a shared interest, but this is one that like we both got kind of jazzed about and like didn't require either of us to be like experts, which was nice.
Yeah.
You know, so it can just be fun.
We are for sure not experts. We've put in a lot of hours of practice of just going to the parks, but...
Oh, I was like, of talking? I talk so much.
No, you're a complete expert at talking.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't talk very often. Well, that's maybe not true. I talk a lot. Mostly to myself. Yeah. So I don't know. We're just going on a journey together, and hopefully you come along with us and enjoy. I'm eventually going to set up some way for listeners, you specifically listening now.
Oh, I thought you meant me.
I'm looking at Jess, but I'm thinking of you.
Oh, wow.
Sorry,
you heard it here first.
I couldn't resist. Anyway, a way for you, the listener, to interact with us in some sort of way.
Yeah,
whether that's email or...
We'll have to think about that because you are entirely off the socials. Yeah. I've been taking a break from social media this year, and it's been great for me, and I don't really miss being on social media, so I don't really want to go back to that, but I like the idea of engagement.
But yeah, maybe if it's one that's just for the show. That could be fun.
I don't know. I could get sucked into looking up other things when I'm on there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I can handle the social media.
Maybe we'll just have a voicemail. That's so funny. No one would talk to us. A text line.
Dude, people leave voicemails for shows all the time.
But not the youths.
I don't know. They certainly are not emailing.
Well, they're email better than voicemail. No, I can attest that, you know, if I work with college students. If I try to call them, they do not answer.
Talking on the phone's scary.
Well, I don't answer phone calls. I don't know, so I can't blame them.
I barely answer phone calls.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one.
Everybody I need to talk to is right here.
Yeah. So we're just here to chat about theme parks, and if it's fun to listen to some people giddily ramble on about theme parks, then you're in the right spot.
Yeah. And
this is a great thing to listen to as you're driving to the parks and you got hours to kill in the car. And you're you know,
well,
just get set the mood.
By the time you're hearing this, you'll just be able to roll them back to back to back all the way there.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. However many hours and hours it takes you to drive.
Yeah. Or fly or whatever you're doing.
Look. We don't
Wherever
judge.
You are out there in this great, big, beautiful, crazy, mixed up world we call not universal.
However your journey takes you.
Yeah.
We're glad you're here. Welcome.
Welcome, and thank you for flying Delta.
Strike that from the record. We don't have the money to...
No. Bleep that. This is me talking to me. Oh. Anyway, shall we talk about what we had initially maybe talked about planning? We are going on a trip to Universal.
Yes.
Very soon.
Yes. So we are recording this end of March. We are going, like I mentioned, Easter weekend, which is mid-April. So a few weeks from now. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. Getting better every day.
Yeah, getting closer every day, just a little bit closer. Yeah, so... and like I mentioned, we are pass holders now. So we went together in January. You went by yourself last month.
I did.
And was that just a day one?
No, that was an overnight one, I believe, right? I don't know. I'm getting this mixed up. So I took my first intentional solo trip to Universal sometime towards the end of last year, I think. And that was just a day trip. This truly is illustrative of how much of a theme park sicko I am. I got up. I don't remember when this would have happened, but you had the baby.
Yeah. I was at the beach
you
with
were.
Jen.
Yes,
yeah.
you were at the beach. And so I was going to be home by myself. And what I did was I got up at like 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
And I got on the road to Orlando, which is about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive-ish. And I spent the entire day at the parks. I didn't quite close down. I think I was there till like 45 minutes before park close. And then I drove right back.
Yeah.
And I got in before midnight.
Yeah, I think you got in around like 11 maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the kind of thing that I do.
But I think that's cool.
Is that something that you can ever see yourself doing?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You would do that?
Yeah.
By yourself?
By myself, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Some of us have it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, it's, I think it's really cool that you did that you're willing to make that trip, and also that you can just like enjoy being there by yourself. I think that is such a unique quality, to be comfortable in your own company and like doing your own thing. I'm an extrovert, so I'd be like, I need to talk to someone, but like you're so fun because you'll just like talk to random people, like
I will
and strike up conversations.
You know what's so funny though? It's got to be in that type of situation where I'm in an extremely familiar, comfortable environment.
Yeah.
Jess is an extrovert. I am an introvert.
You're an ambivert.
Well, I don't even know if I would say ambivert because I don't do them both equally, I don't think.
You know.
I really get my energy from being alone, allowing myself to just do my own thing and quiet time and relax. But I have these little moments of extroversion, like bursts. I've done a bunch of performative things over the years. I've played music. I've been in the theater quite a bit. And so I don't know, I can turn it on, but then I have to turn it off and let it chill.
Yeah. Your battery can blast and then it needs time to recharge.
Yeah, which is why it really is funny to me that when I go to the parks by myself, I can do that. Like I can just talk to a stranger.
Yeah.
And I wonder if part of it is like the anonymity. Like I'm never going to see these people again. So when I sit down next to them on the Mummy and I'm like, "Hey, is this your first time riding this?" If they're like, "No," then I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But if they're like, "Yes," like and like look excited to talk about it, then I'll talk to them about it.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't do annoying garbage like, "Oh, look, in this one part that's coming up," like cuz that's dumb. But I did have somebody ask me on that trip, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly. It might have been a different one. But I had somebody ask me when we got on the Mummy, and do you remember what the restraint is like for the Mummy?
Not really. Is it like a lap bar?
It's a lap bar.
Okay.
They turned to me and they go, "Have you ridden this before?" And I was like, "Yeah." But they looked like very panicked. And they said, "Does this go upside down?" And I was like, "Does this look like the equipment that you would need to?" But people aren't thinking that, you know.
Velocicoaster
Now,
doesn't look
Velocicoaster-
like you should be able to go upside down in that.
Yes,
so.
that is a really fun example of, man, we should do, Tyler, me, later editing this, make a note to do like an episode topic about ride restraints.
Oh.
Because there's so many different kinds and they all do different fun stuff. I'll get it later, it's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like talking to people. in theme parks. I'm passionate. I'm a dork, but a lovable dork, I hope.
Yeah, but I think you can make a solo trip fun by yourself, whereas like, not that I can't tolerate being by myself, but I just have so much more fun with other people. Like, going with you would be way more fun than going just by myself.
Yeah, well, it's definitely more fun for me to go with you, but when you go to a theme park by yourself, you get to do what you want. You're not bidden by like the design, like, you know, everybody having different preferences for things, feeling bad when you like want to go do something and somebody's like, I guess I'll go. 'Cause like, that's not a fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's a attitude that I don't really get to have because I grew up in a big family. And so I've never had I get to do whatever I want. So like, I remember last year I had a Monday off work and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to like take my dog to the beach. And then I'm like, oh, okay, like, what do I do on the beach? And like, where do I eat lunch? And I was like, this is so weird. Just thinking about what I want to do and like entertaining myself. Cause like, I've always lived with roommates. I've always had, you know, I've been married. So like, that's not like a thing I do. It's just like, oh, what do just me want to do today? Like, it's just weird. So yeah, I think, I think it would be like almost like a weird challenge for me to be at a theme park by myself. So maybe it's something I should do.
I think that is 100% a goal that we should set is like planning a dedicated time for you to have your own solo Universal adventure.
But here's the thing. That would mean what, you could go, but you're not?
I know.
Can you imagine?
It would have to be some time where I literally couldn't.
Oh, you know what? Well, I get Mondays off this coming summer.
Whoa.
And it's hot, so you're not going to want to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll just take myself
that's
to a theme park.
When
Stay tuned, listeners. Maybe.
when the daughter is in daycare and mommy doesn't work.
Oh, I was going to be like, oh, I could take her. But yeah, of course, I should go without the baby so I can actually do stuff.
Baby.
But I love her.
I know. You would never be able to do anything.
I know.
You wouldn't even be able to sit down to eat.
No. But we'd have fun.
She's a little too young to like fully enjoy the process, but she's really good at theme parks.
She's so great.
Yeah.
She so like I said, we've taken her to 3 different theme parks, and she's probably been to a theme park like 5 times maybe, because she's been to Universal at least twice now.
Yep, she's been to Wild Adventures 2 or 3 times at least, and then Busch Gardens once.
Right. So she gets it. We're still working on a lot of things with her. Like, we haven't like held her in a long line.
Yeah, we
she
typically
doesn't sit still.
We
super
typically
great.
just trade off.
Yeah.
And so to bring this all the way back to planning for this trip that we're about to take, and that, what is that, 2 weeks?
2 or 3, yeah.
Something like that. When we go on this trip, one of our goals is to try, because we've done it like one other time before when we went with friends once, is doing child swap.
Yes.
On rides. And if you're not familiar, or if you don't have a child or whatever, you don't have to have a child to do this, by the way.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, you know, it doesn't have to be like a baby is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I was like, because I'm baby?
Because I'm baby.
I'm baby.
I get swap me.
What if you had somebody in your party who's like, oh, I can't do this ride. I'm so scared.
Yeah,
Could you go and child swap and be like, I'm just going to sit here?
I'm pretty sure you can. But the other thing that you can do is you can walk all the way through the queue of a ride, like with your group of people.
Yes, and then just stand off to the side.
Well, yeah, and whoever doesn't want to do it, you just hop off.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that's no big deal. But yeah, child swap is a great feature for people who do have children. And if you didn't know about it, I think every major ride has child swap now, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'll verify this later, and then Tyler from the future will cut in if I'm wrong about that right here.
Hello, future Tyler here. I was just letting you know that I checked, and of the 28 actual rides that I could find in the Universal app, including stuff from Epic Universe, there were no rides that did not have child swap. So that's great. Good option for you. All right, back to the show.
I think it depends on your definition of major ride, but yeah.
That's true. Okay.
A lot of them have it.
A lot of them do. Most of the thrill attractions have child swap, I'll say that. So yeah, it's just like this side room near kind of where the rides load, where if you have a party full of people and a child, whoever can go take the child into the room and just wait and hang out. A lot of the times they have like something to do, like they've got a movie playing, or
sometimes they're not like super interesting.
Sometimes
like it is
it's
just a holding
room.
area. But like Hagrid, like they're just playing Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
So it's
What's
a
not to
chill.
like?
Yeah. But this is for any child that's not big enough to ride the ride. So
Yes.
like obviously if a child can get on the ride, like just ride with your kid.
Right.
But like if you have a child in your party that can't do that ride, they can still be with you. The one caveat that has prohibited us from doing this in the past is you can't bring a stroller
I know.
in line.
So this is a big thing, and I not that I would want to be able to necessarily, because I feel like if the whole line was clogged up with strollers,
That's true.
that
That's
would be
true.
really frustrating.
I get it. It's just from if you could design a theme park around the needs of parents. So I don't know, maybe Disney does this, but imagine if Hagrid's 2 hours and I'm like, great, my child needs a 2-hour nap. Fall asleep in the stroller.
Yeah.
Be chill. We can just hang out. You know,
Or, like, I'm not going to lug in all this, part of the reason to have a stroller when you're traveling is to carry a baby in. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, that's what you do. But the other part of the reason is you're carrying a bunch of shit and, like, throw it in the stroller.
Yeah.
Throw it in the bottom of the stroller.
Yeah.
So,
The stroller is, like, women's large purse,
Yes.
Like it starts out with all the things you actually need, and then it just becomes this bottomless pit of like anything.
Despair.
I don't know if it's that deep, but
Maybe not.
yeah. So
Maybe your bottomless pit purse is a happy one.
yeah,
Filled with happy things.
happy pits.
Happy pits. I don't like that.
No,
Yeah. Oh, okay. We never finished explaining what child swap was. Damn.
I think that's unfortunately
This is fun.
the format
I'm
of
here
this
for it.
is a little this is the wildest ride, full of twists and turns, and we don't even know where it's going to land. So this is a little too chaotic, and I think anyone listening to this would be like, y'all need to finish a thought before you move on to another thought.
See, and I'm over here thinking anybody who's stuck around this long is my people.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I'm sure most people turned off after 2 minutes, but
Probably.
yeah, but child swap.
Yeah, so anyway, what happens is you take the child into the room, someone waits with them, then the rest of your party can ride the ride, and when they get off the ride, they can come to the room and swap. You don't swap the child, you swap the parent or the guardian.
The child stays.
Yeah.
Other people in the party can go through, but and
then immediately get on the ride.
and immediately
So
get
that's
on.
the
Yes,
whole
so you don't have
thing.
to get in a line again. You've already done the line all together once, so you can just cut right back. For people who don't have children, if you are friends with people who do or family, a lot of people actually like child swap because from my understanding, it's not just the one person that waited with the child that gets to go on the ride now. It's anybody in your party. So like if you are single, childless, and you want to go with some of your friends that have kids, like they might only get on the ride once, but you could get on the ride like 2 or 3 times, depending on how many people are staying with the kid.
Interesting. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard is that
Okay.
they're not counting who has gone and be like, oh, okay, the one person who stayed.
So if you got like a bunch of people, you could probably
Yes.
pull a multi-ride thing.
you could do yes.
That's fun. Did you hear this from coworker?
I heard this from my coworker Kelly, who is a big theme park enthusiast. She's really
What's up,
into
Kelly?
Yeah, she's really into Universal and Disney stuff. So I trust.
That's a hot tip.
Yes.
That's a hot tip. Be careful how you use it. Don't get burned.
Ooh.
Is that anything?
I think it's too early for catchphrases.
Dang. Okay. we'll work on that.
It kind of has to happen organically.
Yeah. So that's a goal for this trip.
Is doing
Utilize
more child swap.
because we have not done this when we travel together, really.
I think that Autumn can, well, when she can walk.
Yeah.
I think we have
That's
more.
huge. So huge for a theme park.
She's starting to, as you like to say, she's starting to come online a little bit more, so that we can like kind of talk with her and interact and like distract her and do activities. And
she just likes looking at stuff.
I think we can engage her a little bit more, so it's not just we're sitting still, I'm bored, I need to move. So we're gonna try it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. You know, you and I have not been able to ride rides together in a long time because we've either had the child or I've been pregnant. Yeah. So yeah, and you know, I think even if we have other people going with us, I would feel too bad being like, hi, watch my toddler while I'm stuck in a ride for 45 minutes and hopefully she's fine.
Yeah, good luck.
Usually she is, but I don't know. Bye. So yeah, I mean, you and I haven't like ridden a ride together probably since...
It's at least been since you got pregnant, right?
Yeah, I was going to say so maybe like 2021, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we went in May 22. So that was probably it.
That's so long.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I have not realized that.
Yeah. I hadn't like put it in those words like that, but yeah.
Man.
So we should do it.
With the exception, I can think of a notable exception.
Yes.
The first theme park ride we ever did with our daughter.
As a family,
all three of us together. It was such an exciting, we literally treated it like it was her getting like her first soccer trophy or something.
It was a milestone.
It was. We like made a really big deal out of it, but that was fun. I did a bunch of research on height restrictions and stuff, trying to figure out anything that we could all do together. And the one thing that I reliably could tell that was going to be okay for all of us was...
She was 6 or 8 months at the time, for context.
Yeah, she very little.
Yeah.
But we did Carousel.
Yeah.
Which is the carousel in the Seussland area of Islands of Adventure. Why did it take me so long to put that together?
I know you're painting the scene. You're bringing us there. Yeah. I'm there now.
But it's a very cute carousel. If you've never ridden it, I've had a much greater appreciation now that we have these annual passes for the first time of doing a bunch of rides that I have never bothered doing before in the parks. So that was never one that I ever did.
Right.
But
you probably wouldn't do it unless you had a child. Probably.
That's the thing. Now that I go a lot more often and there's stuff that I am still finding that I have never touched before.
Yeah, which is exciting
I would do Carousel like by myself.
And it's always like a 5 or 10 minute wait.
It is.
So why not?
In the last trip that we took, I also, for the first time ever, roared. I roared.
Roar. For the first time in my life.
And it felt so liberating. I rode Stormforce Acceleratron, which is like their version of the teacup thing.
Okay, yeah.
It's right next to Hulk.
Yeah.
The wait time, I have never seen it higher than 5 minutes. One of the trips before this, I also did another flat ride. What was it? Oh, flat ride.
The Simpson one?
Flat ride is like a fair ride kind of thing. You can think about it as. No, not Simpson. Oh yeah, no, it was in. Yeah, you're right. It was in Springfield in Universal Studios proper, and it's called Kang and Kodo's Twirl and Hurl.
I cannot believe you know that name. I don't even know. So I guess I don't know that much Simpsons because I'm like, I don't even know who those guys are.
Yeah, they're aliens.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, and the ride has a really funny premise and funny writing on the ride. You wouldn't think of a flat ride, something that essentially just spins, would have any writing, but they have these really funny voice lines that come over that like feed into this narrative of them having a thrill ride that's like really trying to like, you know, suck all of the, I don't know, like brain juice or whatever they're trying to get at. But they have these funny little quips where they say, oh, nothing to be afraid of or whatever. All the signage is really funny. So I would encourage anybody, if there are things that you normally do at these parks and you have the time and you're not like working on a crazy time crunch, allow yourself to just kind of walk around and get into some stuff that you don't ever do. Like, go walk to the pretty viewing areas, or are there any of those types of things that you have never done that would be maybe fun for you to do as a goal for this next trip? What do we have so far? We have Child Swap.
We were talking about how Autumn's been able to do a lot more. She's been really going hard for playgrounds lately and just getting super jazzed about slides and swings and all.
This has been just in really the last few months. I feel like she's liked them. She's gone in them, but she can do so much more now. She can climb.
She
run.
really wants to be on playgrounds, not just we take her to one. So
she gets on slides and stuff.
Yeah. So there's so many fun play areas in Universal that we've introduced her to, but I think she's going to get a lot more out of it this time. So
that's really exciting.
Camp Jurassic.
Camp Jurassic is one of the best kids play areas, not just in theme parks, kind of anywhere.
I don't think you need to just be a kid either. It's interesting. It's cool.
Yeah. There's all kinds of fun little nooks and crannies to get into.
The cave area is just really neat.
Yes. Yeah. Look up Camp Jurassic and see if you can. I challenge anybody listening, because we've done this several times, to find the caves.
Yeah.
They're hard to get to.
I was going to say, it took us a while. So going on Camp Jurassic... DreamWorks is a new area of studios that is
DreamWorks Land, I think.
Super cool.
Yeah.
We had fun introducing it to Autumn last time, but I think she's gonna get jazzed a lot more because there's a whole Shrek swamp area that has several slides, and she was kind of into it last time I took her, but I think she's gonna be oh yeah.
And there's the Kung Fu Panda area where they've got little spinny things that are fun.
Yeah. It's a cool vibe. So that's gonna be great.
And I think her first roller coaster ever might eventually be, once she's tall enough, baby gotta grow.
Yeah.
Is probably gonna be Troller Coaster.
Yeah, that one looks fun.
And other fun thing, I've ridden that roller coaster.
Really?
But yeah, because it used to be Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same track, but different theming. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So you were talking a lot on your last solo trip. You did Kong, and you were talking a lot about it.
Oh man, so I'm a very recent Kong convert. Convert. I can't believe I fucking missed that. I'm so mad. That was my pun. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Something you're going to find out sooner or later, and I might as well just say this now. I don't think this is a controversial topic or opinion to have. For a long time, I have hated screen rides. It is... Nobody from Universal is ever going to listen to this. I don't like to insult people. It is the laziest cash grab of a thing to do to build a new ride that is a theater where you just watch a short film. That's not a ride.
Well, it takes away from the spirit of you're going there to ride the movies, which is to have a different experience than watching the movie.
Yeah.
And so if I go there and I'm just kind of watching a movie, I could have done that at home.
Yeah, or I could pay $20 to go to the movie theater that's down the street from our house, and my chair moves a little bit.
Yeah.
With the screen. And that's essentially the same experience you're getting.
Right.
It's maybe without the 3D, but the 3D makes a lot of people sick sometimes. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, that being said, I'm the biggest advocate for, and I know that places like Universal Creative I think that they have fucked up in this regard a little bit, because there was a period of 8 to 10 years maybe where that's really what they were doing. And then they have really pivoted hard in the other direction with incredible rides that don't use screens at all. Hagrid is a great example of a ride that is so many different things, and it's made so much more enjoyable and impressive and makes people want to come back and redo it because it's all practical things.
Yeah.
Even Escape from Gringotts, while there is a lot of screen-heavy stuff, there's a lot of practical stuff happening in that ride.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool rooms that you're moving through. It's a roller coaster, or at least partially a roller coaster, so I don't know. There's a lot of interesting movement or whatever. One of the best screen rides in the park is The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's so much more.
And it just was revolutionary in its ambition, like what it was trying to do, the blend of these practical set pieces with having 3D movie that is sort of like in a comic book style. It's not exactly like hand-drawn looking, like it's still 3D animated, but you almost like buy into it more because it's supposed to look like something you're already familiar with. It's not trying to, I don't know. We will be talking about that a lot more. But all of that to say, I would love for you to go on Kong, and that is, what is it actually called? Hold on, I'm blanking on this.
Skull Island.
Skull Island is what it's called. Rise of Kong?
Reign of
Reign
Kong?
of Kong? Oh my gosh, I forgot the name of a ride. Skull Island Reign of Kong, maybe sounds right. I would love for you to go on that again because it does what I'm so sorry to invoke this name in the first episode. It does what the Fast and Furious Supercharged ride absolutely shat the bed on. Better.
I think this is something we'll talk about a lot, is
100%.
how much we hate that ride.
100%. It's so garbage.
We love Universal so much, but
everybody knows it.
Yeah.
I am so amazed that it immediately shuttered that ride. Especially considering what was there before it. But anyway, like I said, we can get into that later. But Kong does what Fast and Furious doesn't, which is it doesn't do all of this. What's the word that I'm looking for? It doesn't do a bunch of contrived nonsense to try to get you into the story of whatever you're doing.
And just as an update, it is called Skull Island, Reign of Kong, TM.
The TM is so important. If you try to look it up and you don't put in TM, the FBI actually comes after you.
But it's the FBI for Men in Black.
Oh, man.
It's just a pug.
It's just Frank. And he's not wearing a suit either.
No. It's
so
a
you won't know
naked
it's him.
dog.
Yeah, he's incognito. Oh, jeez. The Kong ride does the same. You're in a tram kind of thing with the screens on either side, shaking around, moving, whatever. But they got like little water effects. They have like smoke and smog effects, which Fast and Furious both do. Or also does, not both do. But
what if there are two rides, Fast and Furious?
Are you going to ride Fast today?
Okay,
man, I'm feeling
but what
furious.
if it was a dueling coaster? One was Fast and one was Furious.
That'd be sick.
That'd be much better than what
a
it
roller
is.
coaster is such a better concept for a ride for Fast and Furious.
For any ride.
Which is why they're building it in Hollywood. And I told you about this, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. They're building a Fast and Furious roller coaster in Hollywood. It's going to be able to drift on the track.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait for that. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, that's obviously what they should have started with.
Duh. They did it because they ripped off the portion of the tram tour Fast and Furious thing from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And literally just copied and pasted it into a building.
And it sucks.
But you're on a party bus.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
You're going so slow watching screens of fast cars, and it's like, what?
It's so garbage. Anyway, that's our... it's going to be a recurring segment on this show is fuck Fast and Furious Supercharged.
That might be how we end the podcast. And as always,
I was
fuck
thinking...
Fast and Furious.
Sidebar, and I can edit this out if we want to save it for the end. One of the outros that I thought of is no more screens.
Oh.
But I don't think it quite...
I like ending on a protest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more screens.
Speak your truth, man.
Less screens, even. I would take that. That's not as punchy.
Realistic goal.
Anyway, getting back into it.
Skull Island.
Yep. They just do a better job. And on top of all of that, They have interesting things like every ride vehicle is different. There's an animatronic driver in every ride vehicle for that. There's 4 different ones. And they have their own unique dialogue.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Yes. It's
okay,
adorable.
well, that's a goal, is to go with every different driver.
Yes.
Oh,
and so
then find out who's the best. We'll have to report back on that.
Right. But yeah, like they all
So
have their own
cute.
things that they say and whatever. Sometimes they don't work super well. So that's fun. But the absolute pinnacle of this ride is there are not just one, but multiple animatronics on it that you pass through at one point. Some even in the queue.
Yeah.
There are these, crates of like these exotic, undiscovered species from around the world. There's this giant worm that like kind of moves around behind glass. There are these big bat creatures. Also, spoilers for every single ride and every single park
Yeah.
that we're going to talk about. If you're coming here to like find out, like, I don't know, we're gonna talk about the ins and outs of all of this stuff. So just make sure to like read through the descriptions.
Definitely should have done a spoiler tag at the start.
We're gonna cut that out and put it in
Yeah.
There are these huge animatronic bats towards the beginning of the ride.
See, I've been on this ride and I don't even remember that. So,
forgot.
you know.
They've changed it a little bit. It used to go outside.
Okay.
That would be like the cherry on top, is if
Yeah.
it still had the outside portion. It makes it feel more immersive. But the pinnacle of this ride is the giant animatronic Kong. It is enormous. Like I might be exaggerating, but it might be like 30 feet tall or something.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's his huge head, his big monkey head. And I don't know if they've tweaked this over the years or whatever, but you're in there for a long time at the end of the ride with him. Like, you're driving so slowly. It's probably like a full 60 seconds that you're just like slowly pulling around this room.
Yeah.
And he's looking at you and like, it's the most detailed animatronic I've ever seen of something that size.
Yeah.
The original Kong, I don't think I ever got to go on Kongfrontation in studios.
I don't believe I did.
But that one is impressive, like if you look at videos of it. But this one is so articulate, like his nostrils flare and like his lips curl up and his eyebrows dip down and he like wrinkles, you know, and it's like is moving and swaying. So I don't know. It's beautiful. It makes the entire ride totally worth it. The other stuff's fun too, but yeah, you definitely got to get on that.
Yeah, I think I remember going on it and liking it, but I think you kind of dissuaded me from, you're like, it's a screen one, don't bother.
Yeah.
And
I've really softened on that.
I know.
For some things.
I know.
It seemed like they make an effort.
Right. And so I think when you were talking it up recently, it was making me remember, like, yeah, I remember being, like, scared in that line. Like, you know,
it's pretty freaky.
Yeah.
The queue, I will say, like, if you're planning on going on that ride with kids, maybe don't. Like, don't even get in the queue.
Unless you got good spooky kids. We're working on getting our kid real spooky.
I think she is going to be pretty spooky, which is exciting. But it's very dark. It's very ominous. There's all these really... I think it's supposed to be, like, whoever the native people of Skull Island have, like, carved all of these... I don't know... stone like monkey head, like gorilla heads in the walls, like, and
skulls,
stuff. And literal skulls like embedded into the walls and stuff.
What if they were actual human skulls? Wouldn't that be bananas?
They used to have scare actors in the line.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I'm kind of glad they took that out because it went too spooky for me.
Too spooky. We're not doing HHN.
But they have another incredible animatronic of I think it's a witch. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
In that line.
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really good, yeah.
So that's what I want to do. I am such a huge Harry Potter nerd.
Yeah.
I'm just all about just being in Harry Potter world, consuming as much butterbeer stuff as possible.
Yes.
That's always my vibe.
Yeah, and obviously FJKR. But...
Right.
But that being said,
we the fans have reclaimed Harry Potter as our own,
100%.
so it belongs to us now.
Yeah.
But you got me a wand recently because we had this like janky half-twisted elder wand that wouldn't quite like line up, so it was such a pain in the butt. So you got me a brand new floor one, which is beautiful.
And you know what the unfortunate thing is? I'm going to have to get one of the new interactive ones that they just came out with.
Because you bought it like 2 months before they put out these better ones. And I couldn't have known. You know, that is what it is. Yeah. But anyway, that's been a great, I feel like we should do a whole episode on like tips for parents, but like, if one of you is riding a ride and the other one of you is pushing the kid in the stroller, going to Harry Potter World and playing with all the interactive wand spots is so great. Like 100%. Like I have a blast.
Another way to make that even easier now is since they've updated everything, they've added new magic spots throughout both of the parks. Within the Harry Potter sections, but there's also an app that you can download, or it might have. Oh no, it's through the Universal app.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, but if you go in there, you can track almost like quests, which of the things you've done, and like work through these little mini storyline things, and that's all brand new. So that's a lot of fun.
I was checking the app to figure out. Like where in there it has it, and I can't find it, but what I did find is it's apparently butterbeer season, which is the most hilarious thing, because I remember last year they were like, it's butterbeer season, and it meant nothing. Like nothing was different.
Yeah, we were like, are there any new items or anything?
They're like, oh yeah, this iced lolly is gonna come out, and it like never did. And so it says returning iced lolly, so I guess it did come out somehow.
Is that the only difference that they do for that?
No. There's a couple new butterbeer things that are going to be exclusive during March 1st through May 31st of this year, 2025. So they're coming out with a butterbeer cream puff and a butterbeer candy bar. So I will be eating both of those.
Of course.
I do need to try that ice lolly. Butterbeer gummies are returning. Interesting.
I will
Never
try
had that.
Love gummies.
They come with a souvenir butterbeer cart, which is very cute.
Oh, those are the little barrel carts.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, they have outside for the drink carts.
And then
that's cute.
Classics of butterbeer hard pack ice cream. What is that? No, I've had the soft serve. I don't know what hard pack is.
Hard pack is like what you get at Florian Fortescue's, right? No, soft serve is when it comes out of the machine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hard pack is when you scoop it out.
Yes. That's what you get when you go to, not Hogshead. What's Three Broomsticks and Leaky Cauldron. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I've had the hard pack ice cream. I've had the soft serve ice cream, the best. Mm-hmm. The fudge is amazing, and the potted cream is also really good.
Potted cream, y'all. If y'all are not on some potted cream when you go to Wizarding World, eat it.
Yeah, that was my journey when I went to Universal when I was pregnant, because I was like, I can't really ride anything, so I just ate all.
Oh, and you enjoyed it so much.
It was great. It's for the baby. So, anyway, I think it's very funny, this butterbeer season. Like, just don't do it time limited. Everyone's here for butterbeer. Do all of that. So, anyway, I'll be there for that. Just general vibes. I was looking up, like, what's going on at that time that we're going to be there. And I think the reason why last year we just happened to go Easter weekend because we were planning a trip with our friends who live in Colorado, and I think they were coming to Florida for like a wedding or something, so they were just in town.
Yeah, whatever the timing was.
It just happened to be that, so that's what we did. But it happened that we were there on Easter Sunday.
And we were worried.
We were worried it would be slammed. And it turned out to be really slow for that time of year. So we were really surprised, and we're like, okay, let's see if was that a fluke or is that coming here again? So last year, Easter turned out to be, I think, like this weekend, like last weekend in March. Now it's going to be mid-April, so I don't know how that's going to line up, because now we're getting closer to, I don't know, like spring break time, or I don't know. So we'll see. But I think we're kind of threading the needle good, because I was looking at what events are going on. What can we expect being at the parks at that time?
Yeah, they're still doing Mardi Gras through April, I think, right?
I believe, yes. I thought Mardi Gras was going to end of March, but it might be going through April. I'm not sure. By the way, you can apparently get a reserved spot on a parade float and toss beads to the crowd.
You can.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I believe you got to pay some money for that.
Well, I would expect.
Because why not?
But all the other events that are coming up, for example, Grad Bash is not that weekend, which is great.
That's really good.
Because we accidentally were there during what's the Christian one? Rock the Universe?
Rock the Universe.
And I was like, why are there so many people here?
Unfortunately.
So anyway, we threaded the needle with that. There's a couple other things that are going on that are like the weekend before, the weekend after. So I don't think they didn't introduce anything new and special happening Easter weekend. I think assuming that, most people don't spend that weekend at a theme park.
Yeah.
Suckers. So.
And hey, if you're listening to this later on and this turns out to be a good thing.
Yeah, don't go there. It's just us.
Fuck off.
Yeah, we want to share our knowledge, but
don't act on it.
Don't do it.
Not the good stuff.
Not while we're there. So if we go and it's chill again, that's going to be a new every year thing.
Absolutely.
Which I feel bad about because, Easter is kind of like a time for family and egg hunt and blah, 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 blah. But, if the parks are going to be slow, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think hopefully just spending some time. We have different approaches to how we do things, just depending on our budget and time. So I think this time we're going to try to do 2 nights. We are we're staying at a cheap hotel that's nearby because as pass holders we have early park admission.
We do. Huge
which is
perk
great
for the specific level that we have.
Yes, so early park admission is fantastic to get on some of the biggest rides that otherwise have exorbitantly high wait times, like Hagrid or Velocicoaster, and those are pretty much the only ones you can get on with it.
They open more and more recently, it seems like. So now you can pretty much get on a lot of the stuff that's in. You can get on almost anything in Hogsmeade.
That's cool.
And you can maybe they open up Hulk a little early too. They seem to do these little rolling openings in the mornings like that now, which is really nice. But it used to just be Hagrid.
Right. But it's definitely worth it because you actually get on some of these big rides without a huge wait line.
You might be waiting 50 to 60 minutes for something like a Hagrid versus
3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah. Plus, the budget on-site hotels are a great deal.
Yeah.
In comparison to we're not big bougie hotel people, so
because we're barely there.
We'll pay for cheaper stuff, but because it's a big tourist attraction area, if you want to be within a mile of the parks, everything's kind of expensive, and so it almost becomes worth doing the on-site. And then if you do, you get extra perks, you get the early park admission. If you buy merch in the parks, you can have them send it directly to your room, so you don't have to lug around all the stuff you buy all day. So and you get the I was like, you get the trolley, dear. What is the term I'm thinking of? The shuttle. Yeah, you get the shuttle, so you don't have to deal with parking. That's another thing now with our annual passes that we get free parking.
So there a lot of these perks are adding up, especially for us now. It was not always this way.
Yeah.
And we have spent a lot of time living off of just getting even a single day ticket, staying wherever, and having to figure it out as we go. So it's felt very special that we've been able to level up in that way.
Totally. Yeah. So, and that's
we also get not everybody can do that, and we'll try to be mindful of that too.
Yes. Because we have the luxury of being annual pass holders and we know we're going to come back in a month or two, we can slow down and take our time a lot more and just think of like, what are the big highlights that I want to do and not jam pack everything, which is, you know, a really enjoyable way to do it. I don't really remember where I was going with that, but anyway,
Yeah.
I like the slower pace. I like kind of taking our time with things. And I think having 2 days that we're going to be able to do it, depending on how late we get in Friday, one of us may be able to like get in for an hour or two.
I'm really hoping that that's you.
Yeah. Well, we've been wanting to see like their night shows.
Yes, I have
saw the one with
still
the
not.
castle,
Yeah,
which is
so we
great.
finally saw the new light show that happens on the Hogwarts castle. Extremely good, and I think we even saw it was the Christmas themed version.
Oh, they do a different one?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think they
cool.
do a different one.
Cool.
But yeah, we have not seen. What do they even call it? They are really kind of beefing these names lately. I think it's called Cinesational. Cine, like cinema.
Yeah.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's not the worst name they've come up with. But yeah, that show is insane. It's on the lagoon at Studios, and laser light show, water screens, like huge fountains that they project light onto, and also drones in the sky making shapes. It's amazing. Haven't seen it. Would love to see it.
Next time when we get on, we're going to talk about Epic Universe and what that's going to look like. Maybe we'll have a more cohesive narrative in our discussions, but probably not. I don't know.
And what's the point of that?
We don't have any time to plan and organize any of this, so it's going to be off the cuff.
We might, if I'm assuming we're probably going to have another one of these out before we go to the park. But we will present our finalized list of goals for this trip.
Yeah.
I think would be fun.
Yeah.
Because I've got some too.
Getting to working on like a bucket list for us to make each experience interesting, because otherwise, you know, we are very familiar with it. We've done a lot of the things, so it's kind of fun to have a fresh, unique take.
Or to have different little challenges, or you know.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but this was fun.
This was a blast.
I did enjoy talking in the closet with you about theme parks.
I also enjoyed talking in a closet with you about theme parks. If you couldn't tell, we're in a closet. If I get to this later and it sounds like we're in a closet to the extent where it's like unlistenable, I'm still going to put it out. I just want everybody to know that, because I've had so much fun doing this.
Aw, I'm so glad.
And we can call it episode 0 or something and make it like a hidden track.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, is there a word for like a track of a roller coaster that like you don't go on anymore?
Switch track.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing. Yeah, this one might be a switch track. We'll see what happens.
All right.
But this was a blast. Thank you, my wife, for sitting down here to do this with me. Thank you, the listener. Whoever you are out there, I love you and you're beautiful.
Oh.
And here, I don't know. We need to. We were talking earlier about.
No more screens.
Yeah, we were talking about what we say at the end of these. I pitched no more screens, but even that I feel like is a little too aggressive for my energy.
Thanks for writing it out with us.
Thanks for writing it out. And until we write again, that's good. Until we write again. There.
Good night.
Good night. Cut, print it. Perfect.
Hey there, did you have some thoughts that you wanted to share with the show? Well, you can if you want. In the show notes for this episode, you'll find a text link that you can send a text message to us directly. We won't be able to respond, but unless you don't want us to, and feel free to tell us, we're not going to be mad, you can send a text to us and we will maybe respond to it on a future episode. So feel free to do that or send an email into rideitoutpod, P-O-D, at gmail.com, and we would love to hear from you. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you in a future episode.